Hi everyone, and welcome back to Advanced Java. In this video, I want to introduce an exciting new feature from Java 8 called InterfaceDefaultMethods. So I'm going to talk through that, show you a demo. Before I do that though, I think we should review just a little bit about interface methods from Java 7 and previously, and that's how we've been using interface methods in this course and previous courses here in the program. So this is an interface that could have come from maybe your project. Here we've got public interface token analyzer, and we have two abstract methods defined here. We know they're abstract because there isn't any code in curly braces after the method declaration. Instead, the method declaration just ends with a semicolon. What that means is that any classes that implement this token analyzer interface have to implement the process token and generate output file methods. So that's what we've been doing. Now, up until Java 7, that worked great. And I'm going to just show one more example that I'm going to show you how to convert now into default methods and what exactly that means. So here we have a greetings interface and a class that implements that interface. So I'm going to, rather than talking through the lecture notes here, I'm actually going to demo that, but I'm kind of following right through the lecture notes here if you want to refer back. So I've copied both of those little code snippets, the greeting and the greeting interface here. So here we've got an interface. It's using an abstract method. So create greeting takes in a person's name, presumably, and some greeting, and then the return value will be a string. So you can imagine that this method's job is to construct a greeting and pass that back. So that's the interface. Here is a class, greeting, that implements that interface. And so if I just started right here and I went to compile, if I do my build demos, as you might expect, we're going to get a compiler error here. So the compiler enforces that if there's an abstract method in the interface, that when we implement the interface, we have to build out that method. So here's the error that we get. Greetings is not abstract and does not override abstract method create greetings. So I need to go ahead and add some code here to get the compiler, satisfy the compiler, first of all. So if we cut back over here, we can just grab a little snippet of what that greeting might look like. So I'm just going to grab this portion right here, and we'll paste that in and talk through it here. So we've got a main method, and the main method instantiates the greeting class and then calls the greeting create greeting method, passing in a name and a greeting. The greeting create greeting method, and that's the one that we had to implement, right? We have to override that method here. What that will return is whatever greeting was passed in, comma, person's name, and then an exclamation point, and return that. So we should see this information being passed in, the greeting being constructed and passed back, and then we print out that greeting. So hopefully that's pretty straightforward and provides you with a good refresher on how we override those methods that are in an interface that we're implementing. So let's go ahead and compile, and we should see that our compile errors went away. And then let's actually just give this a run to make sure things are working as expected. So here we have our greetings class, and we see the message coming back, exactly what we expected. All right, so moving on to default methods. What is a default method? Well, a default method means that we can actually now, starting in Java 8, add some code in here, and we can build out some default behavior for a particular method. So let's say that the behavior that we had in greeting here is exactly what we want the default behavior of that create greeting method to be. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here, and then I'm going to kind of roll back in time a bit with our greetings class and get rid of that create greeting method, but still call that create greeting method here. All right, so I've pasted that in, but I need to do one more thing. There's a new keyword, default, and I believe that's lowercase. Yeah, it's lowercase. So by adding that default keyword in, that specifies that this is the default behavior for this particular method in the interface. And that means that in the greetings class, I don't have to implement or override that particular method. I could if I want to, but I don't have to. So let's just check that out by running the compile again. And before we added that default keyword and built up the method, we would see a compile error, right? That we had to override the method create greeting in the greetings class. Now I'm not seeing that message, and let's just confirm that things are still working here as we expect them to. And there, in fact, we are getting the same message out. So that's the default methods. Super handy. It was a behavior that I think a lot of developers have been waiting for in Java for a long time. So it's really nice that this feature is now available, because sometimes we do know what that default behavior should be, and it allows us now to go ahead and implement that so all the classes have it available to them. So what does that mean for us, for our projects? Well, we're using an interface already. And so in project 2, we're going to add another interface. And this interface is going to be the properties loader. It'll go into the utilities package. And the reason for that is that the utilities package is going to be available to our analyzer application and also to our project 2 web application. And so the properties loader interface is going to be responsible for loading up our properties. So we'll be able to pass it a path to our properties file, and this interface will automatically load that. So you can imagine that's behavior that we're going to need in several different places, especially if you've looked ahead at the project. In Analyzer, we're going to be loading up properties. In our web application, we're going to be loading up some properties and displaying those. So by having an interface that does that work for us, that's going to make it really easy to add this functionality to multiple applications and not have to rewrite any code. So it's a very slick way for us to use default methods in our interfaces. Looking forward to seeing how you implement this in your project. Please reach out if you have any questions. We'll see you next time.